You know, out of all the gameplay, I think the coffee machine is possibly my favourite, just because of the ludicrous amount of beans you're provided. In a world where beans are used as the main source of currency, with coffee beans there seems to be an unlimited supply. This would definitely be something I'd want to look into, had there not have been a way more interesting murder happen 10 feet away. Among Us Story On Guard is a new game being made by Innersloth, where we play as a new operator testing out a simulation in Mirror HQ to figure out any possible imposters. Now, this game is just a demo, so a lot of the story is missing, and we can't go into certain rooms or do anything outside a specific selection of tasks. But after playing this game on stream, I did wonder, is it possible to guess the true culprit from the demo? And that's what we're gonna be figuring out today. But before we do that, please do subscribe. It's free and you can always unsubscribe later. Subscribing is the best way to support my channel, as it allows me to make more videos and helps me reach more milestones. I really want to hit 400k soon, and we get closer and closer to that milestone each day. So if you could just check to see that you are subscribed, that would be great. Thank you, and back to the video. Okay, so if you haven't played the demo, or if you need a quick recap, here's what you need to know. We play as Purple, who acts as a lone vigilante type character. After going through the emails, we see a few things. One being Cook's message about the food choice for the day, another being a notice about engineer's scheduled power outage, and finally a secret message from an unknown character requesting they meet in the cafeteria. As we head up to cafeteria, we run into Scientist, who's worried about the power issue, since no power would cause the plants in the greenhouse to die out. We reassure them that everything is going to be fine and head up to cafeteria. But when we get there, we're in for a shock, as we see our beloved Cook lying dead on the ground. In that moment, both Doc and Captain leave admin to see us standing over the body. Immediately, Doc claims that we must have done it, and the Captain agrees. After a short emergency meeting with all the crewmates except Engineer, considering they're dealing with the power problem, we're taken to be thrown off the ship. Except in that moment, all of the power goes out, allowing us to sneak past the crewmates and hop into a vent to escape. Now we're on a time limit to try and prove our innocence and avenge Cook's death. Obviously, in the demo, we never figure out who did it, but have we been given enough information that we can make a safe guess? Well, let's find out. Currently, we have 5 possible killers on the Skeld: Guard, Captain, Scientist, Doc, and Engineer. I know the list seems kinda small, but there doesn't seem to be any plans to add more characters in the future, so let's work with what we have. Firstly, I can safely say that it wasn't Guard, mainly because that's the character we play as, and since this is a simulation made to test out the operators, it wouldn't make sense to have you play as the secret twist imposter. However, to be fair on the other crewmates, it is understandable not to want to trust a purple security guard in general, and maybe that's why it was so easy to frame them for murder. Also, we seem quite close with Cook. It's clear that everyone was upset about their murder, but we clearly took their death to heart, which kind of makes sense considering we don't have a lot of allies on this ship and Cook seemed to be friends with everyone. So if it wasn't us, then who could it have been? Well, firstly, I want to look at Doc. The Doctor is a character that seems to be more focused on their streaming career rather than their medical one. During the time of the murder, they had been in admin with the Captain, running in as soon as we find the body and accusing us. We tried to plead our case, but they won't listen. Despite the accusation, it doesn't seem like Doc really cares about the life at all. From our observation, Doc really didn't care about the body that much, dragging it into medbay and not even putting it on a bed. It's hard to understand if this character is stupid or feigning stupidity to not look suspicious, especially when they unplugged the medbay scanner, so we can't even prove our innocence that way. And why did they unplug it? Well, so they could plug in their streaming setup when the power went out. It is ridiculous, and they are quite comfortable with being that close to the Captain when they make these accusations, because they're aware that the Captain is going to double down on it and the Captain has the authority to make these accusations final. In all the playthroughs I watched, currently they fly under the radar and it's hard to tell what they're really thinking. Next up, we have the Captain. While the Captain seems to be leading the charge of accusing the guard of being the imposter, they aren't really that suspicious overall. If anything, this just follows the textbook on how mirror captains act, how they are trained to handle situations. They were quite happy with going with whatever the first person said rather than investigate further. However, they were in admin when the body was found, which is right next to cafeteria. Therefore, they remain as one of the closest crewmates to the scene of the crime. But after seeing other people play the game, many see see the captain's assertive nature to lead the crew as suspicious. But for that to be the main evidence, it's pretty weak, considering that's the role of their job regardless if there was a murderer or not. Therefore, I don't think the captain is that suspicious. Now, if we look at engineer, they were the only person that wasn't accounted for when the body was found. We know they travel through the vents, and we know that they are currently working on diverting the power to certain areas. It might be that this is just a distraction so they can get away with murder and not be held accountable as they scatter away in the vents. But somehow, this character seems more sincere. They're willing to listen to us but remain cautiously suspicious. It's how people would react in this situation. Engineer seems solely focused on doing their job during the issue with the power supply. If they were the one to kill Cook, wouldn't it have made more sense to cut the lights during the murder and not when it inadvertently saved us from the airlock? To me, out of everyone in this ship, Engineer might be the best chance at being an ally rather than an enemy. And then we have the scientist. Now this person is the most suspicious out of the lot. Don't believe me? Let me explain. After Cook had been murdered, we saw a blue substance next to their body. We know that this substance is blue flour, or blower, found in the pantry. And wouldn't you know it, we saw the same substance on the scientist's chair during the emergency meeting. Engineer said that they saw the scientist in the vents, along with another character they couldn't identify, and while venting in this game doesn't really seem like an imposter-only activity, it is still questionable, especially if they're using it as their main mode of travel. Which then brings into question where they were when the murder happened, as they were standing right outside cafeteria, as if they had just walked out. Which makes sense because we know they were in there earlier because of the blue powder. When we talk to them, they are nervous, but they say it's because they're worried for the plants in the greenhouse. They are worried that if the power goes out, the plants will die. Which does make sense, right? Except we can see through the walls that the plants are already dead. This is prior to the power outage. So why would you be worried about this if the plants are already dead? Or are you just trying to hide the real reason why you're really nervous? In the emergency meeting, Captain and Doc were dead set that it was us, but it seems like the scientist was waiting for the group consensus until voting. And in a regular game of Among Us, imposters tend to wait for the group decision so they can follow what a crewmate does. And when the lights went out and we escaped through the vent, the scientist was the only one that saw us go through the vent. Almost like they had imposter vision. My only problem with the scientist is that it's a little too easy. Look, for a training program, it makes sense, spotting suspicious behaviour within seemingly innocent crewmates. Scientists saw us in the dark, they travel through vents for seemingly no reason, they lied to our face, they are a prime example of an imposter. But then why would the scientists just stand outside where the murder was committed? Especially if they knew that the guard was going to be there at 9, because they messaged them telling them to show up at that time. Well, I think the only way that this could truly make sense is if the murderer was Doc. Yep, I'm bringing it back to the first guy we mentioned. I'm allowed to do that, it's my video. Just think about it. If Doc was the one to send that email, then they could have been in cafeteria with Scientist and Cook, waited for the Scientist to leave, killed Cook, and then went into admin to distract the captain. Long enough for the guard to make it into cafeteria, discover the body, so they could come out just in time to catch them in the act, securing an alibi and framing one of the more suspicious looking crewmates. In the series, we learn that the imposters who take over old crewmates tend to flanderize the old crewmates' behaviour. By that I mean they took certain character traits and made it their whole personality. In which case, Doc's claim of "I should have been live streaming this" isn't just a reference to the insensitive streamer, but a gross attempt at trying to replicate Doc's personality. They use stupidity to hide their sabotage, especially with unplugging medbay in favour of their streaming setup, meaning we can't prove our innocence with a scan. All I'm saying is that because there's so much evidence pointing towards Scientist, I believe they might have been set up in the same way we were. Could it have been that if we hadn't gone into cafeteria like the mysterious email asked us to do, then Doc would have swayed the captain's vote towards the Scientist, who is clearly a nervous character and was also near the scene of the crime when this happened? Well, it seems we'll only know for sure when the full game comes out. But what did you guys think? Are we on something here? Thank you guys so much for watching. These videos are always fun for me to make, so it's great to know that you guys enjoy them as well. Thank you to my members. Once again, your support for this channel is why I can continue to make videos, and I appreciate it so much. But if you can't be a member, that's okay. I'm so thankful to everyone who's subscribed. Thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!